Okay, yes, we are recording. So, welcome to the Ultra Running Sam podcast. Ellie Biss,
Hi.
or Elaine Bisson to give you your Bisson to give you your full name, but as we just established, you don't mind going by Ellie Biss. Why was that? Why was that? Why is you say it was like a uni thing, a student thing, was it?
Yeah, it's just a student name. So to make me feel young again, it's come back.
Yes, I'm all for feeling young as I
Yeah.
get creep into my 40s. I'm well into my 40s. I'm 44 next week. So I'm all for trying to feel young and holding on to the past a little bit.
It's all right. As long as you don't look in the mirror, it's okay, isn't it? You can
Yeah, yeah,
pretend you're young. Yeah.
yeah. Pretend I haven't got grey hair. Yeah, I can pretend. But I have two daughters that remind me on a daily basis that I'm old and I mishear things when they're telling me things and they're feeling my age. But we're not here to talk about me getting old. We're here to talk about running, specifically your running. So now, the last time I saw you, Ellie, was crossing the stream. Yeah, it's a stream. It's not a river, is it? It's a stream at Wessington on the Spine
Oh, right.
race. I
I
say
don't
last.
remember.
It's still this year, isn't it? But we
Yeah.
refer to it as last year in the as we think of the race being around the corner and everything. So
Oh no, I
that
do
was
remember you were at the bottom. Yeah.
yeah. So I was
Yeah.
filming. Yeah, as you went over that little bridge,
Yeah.
I was there with Tanya, part of the media team. It was she was the proper photographer, and I was there just wangled my way onto the media team to do bits of filming and stuff. So we found a bit of shelter there in that because it was horrific, wasn't it? The weather that those first couple of days. Well, how did you find it last year?
The last year, well, I got to Lothersdale. Don't remember it being that bad actually. I think I was kind of enjoying myself um until my back gave up on me. Yeah,
So
I don't
yeah,
remember.
you don't remember it being bad. I think
No,
maybe I'm hyper focusing on. There was one section. So the first thing that we went to go and film and take photos on was the bit leading up to Snake Pass. So we parked on Snake Pass and we were on that bit of moor there that where you drop off the hill and go across the flagstones to
yeah.
the road. And it was like horrific, like wind and rain and everything. So maybe so. It started off like blowing a gale and gusty wind and everything. So how do you find that the weather sort of improved as you went along then?
Yeah, it must have cleared up. I, it was getting cold, wasn't it? Um, I don't remember very much of it.
You blanked out of your memory.
Blocking it out of my memory. I remember the streams being really swollen and having to, yeah, somebody helped me across one because it was over my knee. Um,
Yeah, that's yeah. There was a lot. I know there was a lot of rain, wasn't there, over those first like 48 hours. So you got to Lothersdale. What's what actually happened? Because I'd expected to see you finishing and doing well last year. What happened then to end your race?
it was a gardening injury before the spine that knackered my back. Couldn't sleep for, yeah, probably 2 months before because it was just getting spasms in my back and it just got worse as the race got on.
Did you
Yeah,
tell me about that in that last podcast? I can't remember if
I
I did.
didn't. You can't tell anyone if you've got an injury and you went to finish your race. You got to block it out.
Yeah. Well, you
Yeah.
can get they call it getting your excuses in early, don't they? If you if you play down your performance and say, well, I'm not going to do very well because I've got a bad back. So what caused that injury then? You just
It's raking leaves in the garden, just using one arm, and yeah, my back didn't like it.
no. Oh
Yeah,
no.
so
Yeah.
the garden's just been left this year. It's just a mess.
Yeah, but
Oh,
we won't be making the same mistake twice. So,
no.
so what exactly happened then? So you were having spasms during the race then, or was it just the pack and everything carrying the weight?
Yeah, I think just the pack it started getting really bad. and I suppose you could have struggled on a bit further, but that wasn't why I entered. I wanted a good race, and it wasn't going to happen. So
Yeah.
I'm back this year to see if I can have a good one this time.
Yeah. So you've had a good year in between the race, then, haven't you? So you
Yeah,
did really well at Cape Wrath, didn't you?
yeah, that was
Yeah.
beautiful.
How did
Yeah,
how did that race sort of pan out then? So that was later on so that was May, wasn't it, this year? So would you sort of sorted out your back issues by then?
yeah, yeah, it was all sorted. It's a beautiful race, that one. I don't know if you know about it much.
I don't
Yeah.
know about it. I know of it, but I don't know. Yeah, if you could sort of give us the background of the race and everything.
So it's a trail, Cape Wrath Trail from Fort William up to the northwesterly point of Scotland, the Cape Wrath Lighthouse, and it's 260 odd miles, but you do it over 8 days and you camp in between. So you've got 8 camp spots, and it's really rugged, really remote, and it's yes, apart from the midges, absolutely stunning. Yeah,
Yeah, are they in full force by that time? Yeah, I suppose they would be, wouldn't they? May.
yeah, they were. There was a
Virgin.
few camps that were horrendous, really thick fogs of midges coming down. It was quite unpleasant.
What's your way of coping with midges then?
Run away from them. There's a few days where you just wanted to get higher and higher, so to get out of their territory.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know because even like the when I did the summer the Challenge North, there were sections with midges, and I'd brought on under everybody's recommendations. So like you've got to buy the spray smidge that works brilliantly, and I found that I kind of regretted it because I was like stopping and spraying myself all over every bit of exposed skin that I got. But then I found that they would just seem to just be attracted to it, and then just they would just like stick to your face. So you were constantly like wiping this slime off your face that was covered in midges, and they'd get you anyway. So I think probably maybe when people wear the nets, that's
and
probably
that's a good.
better.
Yeah, I think they're just unpleasant anyway. Even if they don't bother you, they're still unpleasant just being around your
Yeah,
face and things.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
just annoying, aren't they? Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely. So what? So you were second lady on that race. Then how did
yeah.
the race pan out for you then?
Um, it was good. I was probably a bit cautious. I'm always a bit cautious going into the race, especially when you spend so much money and time training for it. So I always start off probably a little bit steadier than I should, and pick it up at the end. But I loved every minute of it. They're great events that REA organise. That
Yeah. So the distance wise, it's not too dissimilar to the spine race, then, is it? Except you are having a hard stop every day
yeah,
on the route.
yeah.
Yeah. How do you find that sort of style of race? And does that suit you, or would you prefer to sort of plow on like the spine?
Um, for that one, as it's really sociable, so it's really nice when you get back to camp. We were lucky with the weather, so there was a few days you could sit out and chill, and they do lovely cakes and chips and things. Um, so it just makes it a much nicer kind of environment, I suppose. You're not killing yourself. You kind of enjoy each day. There's a few really short days, like I think 20 odd miles and 16, and then there's longer days going up to 40 plus. So if you yeah, you just get a bit of recovery time, and it's more pleasurable than the spine.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So what have you sort of taken any learnings from that experience that you're gonna play out in the spine, or is it just completely different kettle of fish?
It's a different kettle of fish. There was daylight on that one. Like, didn't run in the dark at all. So uh, yeah.
How are you with obviously you've had years of experience, but how are you with sort of that amount of minimal daylight for races and everything? Is it something that you sort of adapt to easily, or is it a struggle?
I think it's hard for everyone, isn't it? That's what makes the spine hard. I think if you um yeah, I haven't done the summer spine, but I'd imagine that it's nicer and it's kind of easier in a way, because when in the winter, when the darkness comes after kind of like the second night of it, you feel real, or for me, I feel really knackered, start hallucinating and things. And yeah, it's hard work. You kind of pick up when the daylight comes again, but yeah, that's probably the one of the hardest bits about the spine.
Yeah, it's a long time, isn't it? If if it's
Yeah,
going dark at sort of like 4 or 5 o'clock, I suppose we're on the upside, aren't we? By
so
we've got what day? Are we almost on the solstice? What's the
we
day?
are.
Yeah,
It's the
tomorrow.
25th. Yeah,
Yeah, 21st. Yeah, the short officially the shortest day, and then we start going back the other way again. Um, I mean, I quite like training in the dark. It's not that hasn't been an issue for me, but yeah, like you say, I think my experience of going through the night on the summer race was that it's it was still sort of twilight at like 10 o'clock at night, and I was running for as long as I could without using a head torch, just trying to sort of eke every little bit of daylight out and sort of let my eyes adjust to it starting to go dark to the point where yeah, you start hallucinating. That's like the perfect time to start hallucinating in the half light. You think you can
yeah,
see in the distance. And then it just seemed like a few hours went by, and then the sun was coming up again. You could sort of see it like go down and then come back so many hours later. So I haven't really factored in that for my race, other than I did actually enjoy running through the nights on the summer race. So I quite liked being just in the head torch beam and just
yeah,
having that being your world.
yeah.
And, and what are you like with do you on the spine and stuff? Do you tend to team up with people, or do you stick to yourself? What are you like as a racer?
So I th for the first sort of day or so, it's quite busy anyway. Up to Hebden, there's loads of people around. After Hebden, it kind of gets quieter. I don't sort of, I suppose I don't stick to people unless they're running similar pace to me. So I'm not that bothered if I'm by myself. I suppose it's a lot easier if you can team up with somebody if they're running similar pace to you, but it's yeah, it's important to just run your race, isn't it?
Yeah, but if yes, but I suppose so you don't outwardly look for company while you're running. Then it's just sort of if there's somebody there that you
Yeah.
run at your race, you run with them, but you wouldn't seek it out.
No.
Yeah. So you're not someone that needs to have company to get through, because there can be some dark moments, can't there, on that race where you probably did. Do you ever feel like you're in a position where you'd sort of benefit from having somebody with you? I know, like from my own experience of just training on my own. I even had this experience last week where I went up and did a little bit of from Snake Pass over to Torside and up the other side and then back, and didn't and clocked it on my watch, but didn't plot a route or anything, and forgot that section from Snake Pass to get through onto Bleaklow is like just like a ravine into of just like a boggy
Yeah.
path. It's not really a path. It feels like it's just you're just following the stream, aren't you? Um, and I'd come back and it was dark, and I got to a certain point and I was like, I'm not sure I'm going the right way. I feel like I'm heading off heading off in the wrong direction here. I can't see the road in the distance, and I'm looking at my watch thinking, I'm only 2 miles from where I've parked at Snake Pass. Surely I should be seeing the road by now. And had a mini panic and sort of got out of the ravine and got onto the top of the hill, onto the top of the moor, and just had a look around, and then realised that actually I can just do track back on my watch and just hit track back, and like saw the map straight away and realized I was literally like I was on the right path. But they're the kind of moments where if you're on your own and you're tired and you have a little panic, a little something as little as that can feel like a big thing. Do with your experiences on the race, have you ever had any of those moments where you've sort of had to just sort of shake yourself a little bit and just stop yourself from overthinking something?
Yeah, I think when I finished in 2022, I was lucky because Mark Potts had sort of caught me up before Hike Up Nick, and we were really tired. We were both hallucinating, both completely out of it, really coming down into Dufton. I had a mini sleep, and he was saying, "Oh, should I wait for you?" And I was like, "No, you have to run your race." And I felt brighter going up Knockfell, but on across the top from Knockfell to Crossfell, my head torch started messing up, my watch started messing up. So yeah, quite a few panicky moments on that race, and I hate that section anyway. That was probably my worst bit on the whole race. But the
Yeah,
joy of that.
I didn't like
Sorry,
that summer race.
no,
Mm.
yeah,
Don't know why. It feels like that because it feels like you've gone up onto Knock, and it feels like you should be on Crossfell
yeah,
before you get there. It feels like I should be there now. Why is this carrying on for so long without actually getting to Crossfell? And then when you actually get to Crossfell, you literally hit it, and then you're down the other side, aren't you? It's
uh-huh.
like really you spent all that time focusing on getting to Crossfell, and then once you're there, that's it. You're down to the hut, aren't you? Down to what's
Yeah,
it called?
Greg's
What's it
up,
called? Greg's
Greg's
hut.
up.
That's it. Yeah, Greg's hut. Well, there was nobody there at the summer race anyway. There was builders there doing jobs. There wasn't
Oh, it
me.
looks smart now. Yeah, and
Yes,
you'll get your noodles this time, won't you?
yes. I'm looking forward to
Yeah,
getting my
yeah.
noodles.
Absolutely heaven that place.
And then I didn't quite realize how far it is from there to the checkpoint. So I was in my head, I thought literally you just get down to the bottom of this track and you're there by the river. And it's a long way into it's like 9 miles, isn't it, from something like that, from Greg's Hook down to and it just seemed to go on forever. And I was struggling with my feet at that point, and I didn't like that track that is just seems like there's just boulders,
Yeah.
and you can get like a smooth bit of track to run on. It was just like you're tripping over boulders all the way down. Yes, I just that's a memory that I'm hopefully I won't be reliving on the winter race. It could be worse. Okay. Right, I have got some questions. Um, so training then. So how have you sort of approached is your training sort of for this race been very different to your prep for last year or similar or any sort of revolutions in your training?
um, I'm still being coached by Damien Hall, so I just do what he says. I think it's pretty much the same as last year. I don't think there's an awful lot of difference.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
nothing's really changed. Yeah.
I
Then
don't think any radical changes. No,
yeah.
I get
And
Christmas Day off this year. That's a bonus.
so you're I've seen that you've sort of been going out and doing some big days. You just did Tour de Helvellyn.
Yeah,
That's a beautiful route, isn't it? I love
yeah.
that. Yeah, I've only ever done it once, but I've been up around Helvellyn a few times and stuff. I love that section. So have those sort of big efforts, have they all been part of your build up for the race, obviously?
Yeah, um, yeah, a big training run. Just meant I had Sunday off instead of kind of doing two sort of big days back to back instead. Um, I've got another couple of back to backs coming this weekend, and then rest day, Christmas Day is very important. um,
Yeah, that's the day to look forward to. Yeah.
yeah.
You sort of say you running consistently sort of 6 days every week, or what does it sort of look like on paper you training?
Yeah, so it's Monday's usually off, rest day, and then sort of do intervals or hills on a Wednesday, sort of easiest running otherwise with strides, and the weekends are the sort of back-to-back long days, or they have been since end of November.
Mm, yeah. So what sort of mileage are you covering in the week and like focusing on the weekends then?
Sort of overall.
Yeah, overall,
Yeah.
and then what sort of what are you focusing on those double days? Are they like two big days or one big and one small or
So I think was it just something like a 20 and a 16 or something this weekend? Um, and about, I don't know, 70 to 80 miles a week.
Hmm, yeah, that's great prep. So are you when you get to this sort of the end of this training cycle, um do you know how you're going to feel? Is it going to feel like you ready to taper, or we sort of feel like fighting fit, ready for more?
I think I look forward to taper actually. But yeah, I feel pretty good at the moment. There's quite a lot of easy running. So lots of miles, but sort of easy.
Mm,
So yeah, I feel pretty good.
yeah, I suppose that's yeah. You could. It's good. There's got to be a lot of easy running, isn't there?
Yeah.
Just get the high mileage in, definitely. Um, what sort of prep as far as like your kit is concerned? I know we were sort of joking before about having all you got all the kit from last year and everything. Are you bringing out are you bringing out old bits of kit, or you getting new bits and trying stuff out?
So the only new bit of kit that's in a sealed plastic bag until race day is been borrowed from Alison Walker. She's lent me a super light sleeping bag. So that's the only change to my kit. Otherwise it's just all the same as last year. So it's yeah, I've been running with the pack. Yeah, not much change. So yeah, so it's a bit more relaxed, I suppose, once you get all your kit after a few races.
Mm.
I'm not allowed to
What
buy
sort of
anything
out of
else, but sorry.
I was gonna say, what out of interest, what is the super light sleeping bag?
Oh, I don't know what it's called. It's that Japanese. It begins with an M. It's the one
Oh, I don't
Kit
know.
Linley recommends.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, that's a bit of a
I've no clue
minefield,
what
isn't
it's
it?
called.
It's a good one, and it's a light one. Mm.
It saves me 150 grams of something. It's all important, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it all adds up, doesn't it? Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So as far as so you got all your kit sorted, training's on track and everything. What's your sort of approach with nutrition then? Because obviously everybody has their own sort of way of approaching. All the interviews I've done so far with people getting ready for the race, we've sort of tried to get a bit of background information on what they've been training with, like food wise, and what they're hoping to sort of achieve with the nutrition plan. Is that something that you sort of sit down with Damo and sort out, or is that something you've got dialed yourself?
I suppose, yeah, I mean, he's given me advice about how many sort of calories and things an hour you should have. And it's just sort of practicing and working out on the long runs what you fancy and when and what you can kind of stomach or swallow and when. Um, so I suppose for a race like the Spine, it's not using loads of gels for me anyway. It's yeah, proper food,
Mm.
proper
So
and
what does that look like then? Sort of the real food that you can carry. Then what are your go-to snacks?
the, last year I did a bag, the nice, like the treaty things. There was a bag of like Haribo's or like jellied sweets that you could just stick your hand in and grab a handful. And then I made like a chocolate mix with pretzels and peanuts and I don't know, Reese's cups and things like that. It's a little bit salty, not yeah, lots of calories in it. And apart from that, it's kind of sandwiches, cheese sandwiches, and it's a tailwind. I don't know. I'm gonna have to rate it a bit.
Do you sort of stop and because something that that I haven't had to carry from the summer races, obviously having to carry a burner and everything and gas. And I'd heard stories of people on the winter race sort of stopping and making a hot meal for themselves. Is that sort of all part of your sort of plan to carry dehydrated foods and make warm food up like when you're on the course?
So I'll take ones for the mini checkpoints. So there's one at what's it called? The first one before Penny
So
Ghent. I forgot
um,
what that's called.
I'm with
Malham Tarn. So I'll take one for Malham Tarn, and I'll probably take one for Dufton, and I'll take another for Hornistead Farm.
yeah,
Otherwise, I won't stop between
yeah.
checkpoints.
Try not to stop. Yeah. Will you ever sleep at Hornistead Farm on that bed?
I tried and I couldn't. So it's not that far from Bellingham if you can make it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He does. I think she's quite insistent that you go in though, isn't she? Whenever when you go past. We were sort of. I hadn't intended to stop, but she sort of dragged us in off the route. I was with second lady, and I can't remember her name now. Um, and she insisted that we went in, and I was kind of just a bit delirious at the time, and she was saying, "Help yourself to the food, help yourself to these drinks." And I was like, "Oh." Um, I didn't realize we could get food at this point. I haven't got. Have you? Do you take cards? I haven't got any cash. He was like, no, no, don't be silly. This is all for you. This is all free. Don't worry. And I think I
It's
was just kind of
amazing.
like delirious at the time. Didn't quite understand.
I think I reached there in the middle of the night. It was pitch black. She wasn't awake, but absolutely amazing place. I made a cup of tea or a cup of soup or something, and it was, yeah, it was a bit of a haven.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was. It was like spine. It was like proper spine weather when I was there. It was absolutely chucking it down with rain. So it was. So it was a real morale booster to just go in somewhere and just dry off and have a bit of food. Yeah, that's one of the amazing things, isn't it, about the race is that the amount of people that just show up out of nowhere and just offer you food and the guy I can't remember his name. Is it the Rasta guy?
So well,
Rasta Ralph.
yeah.
I went through there and it was like 4 in the morning and the sun was sort of just coming up and he came out with his canistella I think he'd got and he was like, oh, I'll fire up the barbecue for you, and I was like, um is this real? Is there really a guy drinking a canistella at 4 in the morning offering me barbecue food? It's just one of those that things happen on the race that you don't really know whether they're real or not, do you?
It's quite high up as well, isn't it? When you're really tired, you're really questioning what's going on around you.
Yeah, it was. I was quite tempted by Canastella at the time. It did seem appealing, and I thought, no, that's not gonna help the way I feel at the minute. If I have a Canastella, I'll be asleep in a bush.
Yeah, or in the bogs afterwards,
Yeah,
blinking sort of bog. Yeah.
yeah, it's great. So is there any? So you go for cheese sandwiches, do you? How do you sort of keep them intact during the race and not sort of all mushed up and everything, or you just accept that they're going to get mushed up?
They're just going to get mushed up. It's just a bit of something moist, so they'll have loads of butter on or chutney or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I I sort of my go-to was like pork pies, um, beef jerky, and weirdly marshmallows.
All right.
Just for the like palatability of something different. So it was just the sensation of having something kind of sweet but soft instead of having like nothing worse than like chewing on a dry flapjack or something like
Uh-huh.
that. You just feel like you just want something a bit softer. Yeah. Have you ever had any issues with food like on any of the big races, like not wanting to eat or being being sick from having too much?
Yeah, I felt sick last year. I don't know if I just drank too much tea. There's quite a few mountain rescue support points before Hebden, and I got carried away with loads of cups of tea and loads of sugar. And I think that's what tipped me over the edge. I'm not going to do it this year.
So is that a bit of advice then to refuse the sweet cups of tea?
It's nice, but yeah, don't fill your gut up with it.
Yeah, saw that tea sloshing around.
Yeah.
That's yeah. I had a that was they gave me a flashback to when I did the first summer sprint when they put that on, and I it was warm and I ran out of fluids and missed a water stop at Torside and completely ran out of fluids and then tried to get fluids at the road crossing at Wessenden. And she'd run out of water as well. I ended up drinking 2 cans of dandelion burdock, and that didn't work, obviously.
No.
I was being sick from like mile 30 all the way to the end, basically. I couldn't take anything down. But at Nicky's food food bar, um, I stopped, and all I could think of was having a cup of tea, like a sweet cup of tea, thinking that lots of milk that will sort of set on my stomach, and I stood there and sort of drank it, and I thought this works. It's settled my stomach. I feel good. A bit of sugar, bit of energy. Okay, I feel good to carry on. And literally, like, must have got about 10 steps out of there, and it all came back up again, spewed up again. And I just it was a death march all the way to the end, all the way to Hebden Bridge from there. So yeah, that's a lesson learned for me. Yeah. Have you got any sort of with me being, I've had, quite a few years of experience of, ultras and everything, but this will be my first winter full spine. What advice can you give me as a seasoned pro?
Know your why.
Yeah.
Yeah, know it before you go in, and pack lots of treats that you'll look forward to, or set points where you can have your treats or something, yeah, that will pick you up.
Mm. Something to look forward to. I know I did that with the summer race. Um, I absolutely obsessed with like sweet beef jerky, and it's quite expensive to buy, so I treated myself to 2 packets of that per, because obviously you have to have your for each section you've got to have your calories, haven't you? So I packed so much that I'd got two bags of it per section, and that was always like the little highlight of my section where I stopped and walked properly, or stopped and sat down and ate some beef jerky, and that was the thing that kind of kept me going. But that's interesting you say about the why. What's your why for the spine this year then?
I have no clue. Why would you go back and do the spine again? um, my why. I don't, do you know, just that finish was, I was absolutely done in. It's probably the only race that I've really felt like that. And just that sense of achievement's huge. I don't think I've had that in any other race. It's really
Mm,
hard. A lot of it's not very pleasant, but the rewards are huge. That's I want to feel that again. I want to get
yeah,
to that plant pot again.
yeah, yeah. How did you sort of feel about not finishing last year? Was it something that was easy for you, an easy decision for you to make because obviously you were in pain? Was that sort of because I suppose that's like a definite hard no, isn't it? Whereas if it had been something that had sort of tripped you up in the race, you'd probably be more gutted about. Was it something that you were sort of at peace with?
I think because I had been causing me bother beforehand, and when I had gone out for runs with my pack, I knew it was gonna come on. I just didn't know at what point. Um, so I think I was kind of pre-warned anyway that I wasn't going to get to the finish. But still gutted, because if it hadn't been for my back, I think I was running really well. I got
Mm,
to lots of bits a lot earlier, a lot faster than sort of previous races. So it's still gutting. You put a lot of time and effort training into these big races. Yeah,
mm.
it was
Wh-
gutting.
Where were you sort of position wise when you dropped out?
I was second female. I don't know overall what I was.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're ready. You're back for revenge against well, not against the race. Empty back.
Yeah.
Back for revenge this year. How were you? How were you sort of? I know you sort of spoke briefly about feeling like you didn't set out as fast as you should have in some races. Are you? Have you got a race sort of plan going into it? Racing strategy?
It's I think it's such a big race and there's so many variables on it. You can't kind of I've got a vague idea of when I'd like to get to certain points, but just the river crossings or the terrain can change so much and it can slow you down so much or it can be a lot faster. So I'm not kind of fixed on anything. A big thing, I suppose, is just to be more efficient at the checkpoints and not waste time unnecessarily. And yeah, try and keep moving when I can. Don't just start doing the death march.
It's a big thing, isn't it? Not wasting time at checkpoints. I know I suffered that in the summer. Just when I knew that I was going to stop for a sleep, it was almost like I'd like sort of clicked out of the race, and I was like, well, I'm stopping here to sleep. I'm going to have a shower, and I had a shower and went and had a 3 hour sleep. It felt great, felt really good, but I sort of, I have a habit of faffing anyway. I'm a faffer. So as I've got older, I've got worse. So I used to be able to get up in the morning and give myself half an hour between getting out of bed and running. And had to do that for my job to get to work. But now, as I've got older, I need a full hour because I find myself just faffing. I have to get out, and I've got my little routine of in winter lighting a fire, putting a pot of coffee on, taking a cup of coffee up to the wife so she's got
Sounds
one for
too
when she.
nice.
Sometimes I don't do it so that she appreciates the times when I do it. So she wakes up blissfully with a cup of coffee by the side of the bed and comes downstairs and there's a roaring fire in the log burner. Yeah,
Wow.
so husband of the year. But it means that I've got into this routine of faffing, and I seem to do it with running. That if I know I'm going running, I'll have all my kit all laid out and everything ready to go. But I find myself just putting off the point of getting dressed and doing what I need to do to get out the door. And I'm always cutting it really fine with like leaving for a certain time to make sure I get to work on time and everything. And this sort of played into my race in the summer, that because I knew that I've got 6 hours in the checkpoint, which is obviously what you get in the summer. You get 8 hours, don't you, in a checkpoint on the winter race. Because I'd kind of like gone in there thinking I'm having a sleep, I'd kind of like almost checked out of the race sort of thing, which worked. I got a good chunk of sleep and I felt really, really good afterwards. I felt like it was like a new day, starting running again. But what are your tips on being efficient in checkpoints then for people like me that faff?
I faff as well. That was my issue. I think I got into checkpoints. You get your tea and everyone's chatting to you, and it's so nice, isn't it, compared to what you've sometimes been through. Um, the checklist, and make sure you keep to your checklist as well, because I didn't do that, and that's partly why my head torch gave up on Crossfell, because I hadn't charged it up, hadn't put new batteries in it. It was really foolish. Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of people have like are you one of the ones that have a laminated checklist and have that in
Yeah.
your bag? Yeah, no, I did that. I did do that for the summer race, but I found that I think I'd looked at it so much and kind of obsessed over it so much that I don't think I even really looked at it in the race. I kind of knew what I had to do anyway. But it didn't stop me from faffing. I still faffed. So. So, any sort of last words of wisdom then for anyone that is doing the spine this year, like ourselves?
I don't know. That there's nothing really they can help you now. Is there?
Too
No
late.
wisdom can help you. It's too late. That stopped when you pressed enter.
The hay's in the barn. That's what they say, isn't it? About
Yeah.
so yeah,
You just got to believe in yourself, don't you?
That's it. That you can do it.
Want it enough. Yeah.
Try not to faff. Yeah, absolutely. Great advice. Um, before we finish the conversation, I want to talk to you about your art. So I noticed that when was it a few weeks ago, or I don't know how long ago, suddenly an art page appeared for you that followed me, and I followed you back. What's is this something that you've always done and just decided to have an Instagram page for it, or is it like a new passion?
It's something that I've always done. I had my kids and I went back to uni and did an art degree. So it's been kind of bubbling away in the background. I just needed the time to kind of put it out there. So this is the time. And that's where it's all appearing now.
And I noticed that a lot of it is spy themed as well.
At the moment, yeah. So I usually go out on recce's and take loads of pictures. My phone's full of pictures of hills and rocks and yeah, mud and things like that. And yeah, I'll come back and paint what I've seen.
Mm. So is that kind of like almost like cathartic, like taking in the route, and is it kind of almost like therapy for you to paint the route sort of thing?
I don't know if it's therapy. It's just something that I really love, and I love the outdoors. So it kind of just they just kind of fit together.
Yeah, amazing. So what's your plan with that? Are you sort of hoping to are you selling paintings? Are here's your chance to sort of have an advert for all the people on the spine. Can they buy your art of the route and everything?
Yeah. So I've done a few paintings already for the spine. I've done a few for different races and or different areas in Great Britain. Usually mountain areas, and they're all available on my website, which is elainebisson.co.uk.
Yeah.
So you can buy prints and originals on that.
Right. So if anyone's interested, get on the website and
Yeah.
get purchasing, and all this extra money to buy a last minute kit for the race. Not that you need it.
I just
Um,
need my food. Yeah.
so they can buy you food. Um, so wish you all the best for the race and everything. I look forward to seeing you run off into the distance ahead of me, and yeah, I really hope that you do well, and I
Me
look
too.
forward to it. I'm almost. I mean, sort of. I'm torn this year because I enjoyed covering the race last year on media so much that this year's race is this, including yourself. There's so many, great contenders for the win that it's going to be a really great race to watch, to dot watch, isn't it, this year? And I'm
Yeah,
almost
it would be.
a bit gutted that I'm not on the other side of things, that I'm going to be in the race and not really being able to follow it, because I don't know. You can't when you're in the race, you're not really aware of everything that's going on around you, are you? So yeah, it's a shame that I don't get to see the battles at the front end like I would have done normally. But I'm looking forward to seeing. So before you go, who other than yourself, who is your sort of hot tip for the women's race and for the men's race? What are your thoughts on looking at the lineup other than
Looking
yourself?
at the
Obviously,
lineup. Well, Claire Banworth's back, isn't she?
she is a force to be reckoned
Yeah.
with. Yeah.
And Nikki Spinks is back. Or she, I've seen the first one for her, isn't it? Yeah. So, oh God, the men. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'll have to say Damien Hall because he's my coach.
Yeah.
I'll have to back him.
Yes, my money is on Damo. But I think it's going to be scrappy at the front, because I think there's going to
Yeah.
be a few of the young lads that like first timers or returning like Jack are gonna go for it, I think. And it might. So I was talking to the media team this last week, and they were saying that it could be a case of like we'd had in the past, where all the fast guys battle it out at the front and then fall apart, and then somebody comes through and just takes the win. So you may, and it could be the same on the women's race as well, couldn't it? So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's the nature of the race, isn't it? can't really put your bets on anybody.
No. As Mike Tyson said, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Uh-huh.
So on that note, thanks for coming on and sharing a bit of your your knowledge, and hopefully some people watching have picked up some vital bits of information from you and learned about your experience and going into the race. And I look forward to catching up with you in just a few short weeks in Edale.
Yeah. Have a lovely Christmas yourself, and yeah, it'll be nice to
Yeah,
meet you in Edale.
I'm looking forward to finishing the training and then having going into taper. I am looking forward to, although tapers aren't always nice, are they? They can be a bit frustrating, can't they, sometimes? But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting through the training and getting through it without getting ill and without getting injured, without jinxing myself by saying that.
It's avoiding people over Christmas and New Year now, isn't it?
Yeah, if
Yeah.
that's possible. I don't know
Yeah.
whether that's possible, but we'll try. But thanks for coming on, Elaine. I really
Sure.
appreciate you coming on and having a chat. Thanks for your time.
It's a pleasure. Bye bye.
Thanks very much. Cheers.